Hi everybody, it's Miranda and welcome back to Multiplicity Crafts. Today I'm happy to take part in the Pear Blossom Press Light Up Cards and Giveaway Hop. And so I will give you more information on that in a moment, but first let's jump right into today's project. So I have the Easy Lights from Pear Blossom Press and I'm going to make a light up card, and you can see here are the pieces of paper that I'm going to be using for the card. I'm going to begin with my dark piece of navy cardstock, and I have some watered down acrylic paint, and I'm using just one of the cheap little kids paintbrushes that come with the Crayola colors. I think they've improved their paintbrushes, but this was one of the old ones I had, and it actually works really well for this technique. I'm going to use some of the spray that I've made. This is an alcohol ink spray. I'm going to spray that onto the piece of cardstock to make it look kind of like grass. And if you want to know how I made the spray, I'll have that link below. I'm using a stamp set from May Made It, and this is called Vinnie's Favorites, I believe, and I'm going to be using the ink from scrapbook.com. I'm going to be using the trees, and these are just like silhouettes of trees, and I'm going to use that on the far right hand side of my card. I'm just going to pick those up with my We Are Memory Keepers Precision Press and stamp those into place. And I like this scrapbook.com hybrid ink for stamping silhouette images because it gives you a really saturated color and it doesn't stamp splotchy. It just really gives you very, very good coverage. And this is just, I think, the second time I've used these particular tree stamps, and so you can tell right there, even just with the ink coverage I'm getting, that I'm going to get a good impression. I did go ahead and stamp these twice just to make sure that everything was nice and dark, but honestly it just was amazing coverage even on the first pass. So I'm going to also go in with another set from May Made It. This is called Memory Lane, and I'm going to be using the pickup truck down at the bottom. And this is what I'm going to use for my light up portion of the card. I'm going to make the headlights light up. And so I'm going to stamp that into place where I need it. It doesn't really matter if it shows up or not because it's just for me to see, because I'm going to be putting another truck image over the top of that, as you'll see in a moment. So you can see there I've stamped a little bird and some additional little limbs on that tree to give it some more character. I'm using two different shades of red cardstock. I'm using a lighter red and then more of a deeper saturated red. And I'm going to stamp this truck image onto both. And you can see that I'm not really stamping the back part of the truck because that part's kind of hanging off the edge of the card anyway and it's not going to show. So I'm just stamping the part that I need. And once I have these stamped out, I'm going to cut out portions of the lighter red and glue it onto the darker red to give it some variation, to almost make the truck look shiny and just to give it some life and dimension. And you can see that I have added some white colored pencil for the white sidewalls on the tires and some brads, and it turned out really nice. Now I have this other stamp set from Sweet and Sassy Stamps I'm going to be using, and so I wanted to show that. And also I wanted to show you, this is the image from the Pear Blossom Press website, and all you do is just snap off one of the units there, just like a little wafer almost, and just get to the end of the cords there, or wires I should say. And then it comes with the batteries, and all you have to do is just take one of the batteries and slide it into the unit there, and then you press the little purple button there, you can see, and it will light up your little lights on the end. Now, I was very impressed because these lights light up very bright, and you get 3 lights. And so here is the truck. You can see there I've added some acetate in the window just to make it look shiny. And so that's going to go on top there. And I'm going to be hiding my Pear Blossom Press Easy Lights behind the truck. Now when you place this, you want to make sure to adhere it into place nicely. So I'm going to be using this scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive, and this will hold my little battery pack in place. And you'll notice there on the back where I added my brads, I thought, oh my goodness, that is metal. Like, am I going to totally just short out this unit or electrocute myself or something? But it was no problem. So don't be afraid of that. It's perfectly fine. So I didn't have a problem there at all. And so I'm just pulling the adhesive backer off, and I'm going to add the little unit onto this part of the truck, and that way it'll be hidden. Now when you add the unit, just be cognizant of where your little button is going to be. So I made the button where when you press the spare tire, it will light up the headlights. So anyway, and then I'm just wrapping this around. Now you don't want to go at too sharp of an angle, because if you have really sharp bends in your wire, it could short it out. So try to keep everything as loose as possible. And then you can just loop the excess wire. Now I'm going to cut 2 of these wires away because I only really need 1 light. And if you do that, you just want to be sure to put tape on the end of those wires. That way they won't short out the unit there. So I'm just adding some scotch tape on the back of those so they won't touch anything, and hopefully everything will be fine there, which it was in the end. Now I'm going to loosely tape that onto the back of the truck. It doesn't really matter how pretty this is on the back because it's not going to show anyway. So you can see I'm taking the other part of the wire and I'm going to just loop it very loosely on the back of the truck and get that little light right about where I want it, where the headlight would be. So kind of playing with that wire to adjust it to where I need it. And once I have that in place, I'm just going to tape that down with just some plain scotch tape, nothing fancy here. You could add some double-sided adhesive or whatever kind of adhesive you choose, but I've just used tape because it was handy and it just seemed to tack it down and hold it in place for me. And I'm going to be putting foam tape over top of this anyway, so it didn't really matter. So once I have this all taped into place, I'm going to add my little headlight where I want it and turn that around and just make sure that that's going to look how I want it to look on the front of the card. And so I just had to play with it and make sure that the headlight looked fine, which I knew it probably would. I just kind of wanted to play and see how it looked, if we're being honest. So I have that taped down, and in order to make the rest of the truck meet the height of the unit where the battery is on this Easy Light, I'm going to add a couple layers of the Scotch foam tape. And this will help everything to be at the same height as far as dimension goes. And then at the bottom, I'm just going to add some little foam circles, and then everything should be the proper height to where the truck is all lined up just perfectly. And so once I have this added on, you can see there that I added the little foam circles, and I'm going to put those at the bottom just to make everything the same level. And right where I have the outline stamp of the truck, I just line that up and place my little truck down, and it's super easy. Now you'll notice I mentioned the sentiment earlier. I decided to go with the one that says, "The future is as bright as the promises of God," and that's a quote by William Carey. This was on the Sweet and Sassy Stamps website is where I got these stamps for that, and I thought it was appropriate because it said the word bright in there, and since I had a truck that had a really bright headlight, I thought that would be the perfect sentiment. So here's the finished photo of the card. And this was very easy to make. You didn't have to have a degree in electronics or be an engineer or any kind of electrician to do this. It was very user-friendly. Now remember, this is a giveaway hop, so you'll want to be sure to look in the description box below for all of the details on how to enter. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll hop to the next participant. Have a great day.